Padres taking on the Astros, the Royals at the Detroit Tigers, and we got best bets coming in the Mariners and Yankees game and the Phillies and Brewers game. That's all coming your way on First Pitch here, WagerTalk TV. While you're hanging out with us, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, hit that bell. Hop below in the comments, let us know what your best bets are tonight, because you're going to hear the best bets from these gentlemen right here. Joining me, Ross Benjamin, Jesse Shule, and guys, a loaded MLB slate as we have just 12 days left here in the regular season. So a lot of what we'll talk about is how it's do or die for many of these teams as the playoff push is on. Ross, I'll kick it off with you here, brother. You and I were just bemoaning the Philadelphia Eagles result last evening, but that is why we have baseball, to cleanse the palate from those bad beats that we have there. So let's start off here, Ross, and talk some Padres and Astros. The win last night makes it 4 straight wins for the Padres, just red hot here as they're opposing the Astros tonight. You think that can continue, or do the Astros maybe fight back here a little bit this evening? This one going at 9:40, so plenty of time to track the line moves, see how this one goes. And it's Hunter Brown going against King in this one. So how are we looking to bet game 2 here, Ross? More of game 1?
I think so. I think this is an excellent starting pitching matchup for starters. Hunter Brown and Michael King both having great years this year. However, Hunter Brown is coming off a shaky outing after going through a stretch in which he was absolutely dominant for 4 straight starts. In his last outing at home against Oakland, he allowed 5 earned runs on 9 hits in just 5 innings pitched. Brown just 6-8 in his team starts on the road this year. That's not win-loss decisions. That's what the team record is in his 14 starts on the road. And his 141 whip is sort of in the shaky territory over those 14 road starts. And that's a contributing factor in Houston not having an abundance of success when he's on the mound on the road. Again, they're coming off last night's 3-1 loss at San Diego. They're now 5-14 on the road this year versus National League teams, meaning the Houston Astros, Dan. And you mentioned San Diego, 4-0 in their last 4. And in that 4-game winning streak, they've only allowed a combined 4 runs. So they're getting excellent pitching. This team continues to roll. Over the last 2 months or so, 34-15 over their last 49 games. It's really catapulted them in a position where they actually were contending in the NL West, but good luck trying to catch the Dodgers. But again, they're pretty solidified in terms of at least a NL wild card spot. Michael King, last 3 starts, a 1.17 ERA, 28 starts on the season, a 2.84 ERA, and a 1.18 whip. Those are very good numbers. The Padres bullpen has been lights out over the last 7 games with a 2.10 staff ERA and an 0.78 whip. So they've been getting it done as well. And I think we're getting a cheaper price here, Dan, because Hunter Brown's on the mound. But again, as I alluded to, he's coming off that shaky start. I just love the way San Diego has been playing over the last month and a half to 2 months. I'm going to take the San Diego Padres at home at this very cheap price of -115 over the Houston Astros.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, says Ross Benjamin. Padres money line as they continue to roll. Let us know how you'd be looking to bet that one. We'll hop in the comments, get some of these questions going in just a few. But Jesse, I want to go with you because we talk about how hot the Padres are. Well, since about mid-August, there have been no teams hotter than the Tigers as the playoff push is continuing to roll here for Detroit. They're taking on Kansas City in game 2. But for this Tigers team, like I said, mid-August, 8 games under 500. And since that point, an MLB best 23-10. So now, after last night's dramatic win, they're a game and a half back from the Twins on that final wild card spot. So they are just having the eyes on the prize. However, you think Kansas City maybe could punch back here a little bit? I mean, does this just hot season continue to roll here for Detroit? Or is the pitching matchup maybe going to be a little bit too much for Detroit to overcome this evening? How do you see this one shaking out, Jesse?
Yeah, I don't like the pitching matchup for Detroit.
Yeah.
And you mentioned do or die games at the top of the show. Certainly a do or die game for both these teams. Kansas City just 2.5 games clear of the final wild card spot, so they certainly can't afford to give up any ground. And Detroit, they battled all the way to within a game and a half out of the final wild card spot, which nobody expected them to be in. But perhaps they're riding a little bit high, just getting to where they are right now. But like I said, Kansas City has the better pitcher going tonight. Kansas City at home has been a monster. They're 14 games over 500 at home. But what I really like about Kansas City at Kauffman is the bats tend to get the job done. They're third in scoring in their home games. They average over 5 runs per game at home. And the pitcher, Cole Ragan's going for Kansas City, 11-9, 3.32 ERA, 1.15 whip. Solid numbers overall this season, but the key matchup to me is what are his numbers against the Tigers, and he's 2-0 with a 1.54 ERA in 2 starts against Detroit, and the opposite is true for the Tigers starter, Casey Mize. He's got an ERA over 5 on the road. He's got an ERA over 5 in 3 starts over the last 30 days, and against the Kansas City Royals, 0-1 with a 10.80 ERA in 2 starts. That doesn't bode well for Casey Mize and the Tigers. And in fact, going back even further, the Royals lineup is batting a combined .439 over a total of 66 at-bats against Casey Mize. I will take the Kansas City Royals and lay a bit of a price. I know Ross brought you those really low prices. I'm going to bring you a mid-range price at $150 here.
Going to have a little bit juicier of a play there to kick it off. Thinking maybe we get a little bit of cooling down there for the Detroit Tigers. Speaking of which, though, Ross, we talked yesterday on the show about the absolute heater that the Arizona Diamondbacks bats were on. And then they go to Coors Field where everybody can hit. And they cooled down in a big way. Just 2 runs coming across for the number 1 hitting team over the past month here in Major League Baseball with the D-backs. And then I look at this pitching matchup that they have today at Coors Field there with the D-backs and the Rockies, Montgomery and Feltner. Now, with Montgomery, you maybe, if you don't, track all season long, you can maybe say, the name sounds familiar to me. It's a solid pitcher there. Yeah, he pitched his way out of being a starting pitcher because I think it was like a 7-game stretch where he had like a 7.88 ERA, something around that number. So correct me if I'm wrong there. But he's going to be going against Feltner, who, wow, season long, he's been really poor. His last 2 outings, he's looking to get his second win in 3 outings here. So 2 pitchers who maybe the name deceives you as far as what recent form is telling you, but Montgomery going to be starting for the first time in a while after he's just kind of been a bullpen arm. This one, it feels like if the runs didn't come yesterday, you look at this and maybe you look at a first 5 over with these 2 pitchers, or do you think that might be a little too easy? What do you think about game 2 here, D-backs and Rockies?
Yeah, it's a tough one, but you look at the line and it speaks volumes to me where you got an Arizona team, as you alluded to. I mean, over the second half of the season, one of the better teams in baseball. It seems like a very cheap price, right? And Jesse's favorite pitcher is going for Colorado, Ryan Feltner. I recall me and Jesse have done enough work together where I know Jesse's not real fond of him, and rightfully so. So, it's too cheap a price for me. I mean, in a game I'm going to stay away from. But if you put the proverbial gun to my head, I would lean toward using the underdog in this spot. And also maybe take a look at if you can get a decent enough price on the money line or on the run line without laying a big number. I would look at that option as well.
Jesse, how about for you in that one? Because again, everyone likes backing the overs here, especially at Coors Field. Actually, one of our experts on the show was looking towards that way, and then it was just an absolute, deflation for especially a team who had just been hitting so well. So you look at that total, 11 and a half. That's the customary total here when you're playing in the Rockies ballpark. Anything that stands out to you there? Is it too high? Is this just going to be one of those slogging matchups between these two, or is the over back in play in the most over ballpark that you have?
Yeah, well, I mean, you could have got 11 if you got up early enough this morning, and at 11, I'd like the over. I mean, I looked at the weather report. Some nice warm air at Coors today. You don't usually need the wind to aid your home runs at Coors Field, but we do have some pretty strong winds blowing out here at Coors today. Anytime that happens, combined with reasonably warm air and wind blowing out, and then you throw into the mix a guy coming out of the bullpen to make a sort of a spot start or to see if they can get him back into form so he can at least be a guy they can use in the postseason. But Montgomery's numbers are just awful. I think he's given up 24 hits over 18 innings in his relief appearances over the last 30 days. And yeah, I agree with Ross. I think Colorado, even though one of my lines has always been Mrs. Feltner might want to turn down the volume because I'm going to speak about her son. But how many wins does he have at home this year? I think he's got a goose egg there. But to his credit, he's been pitching well lately. And this almost looks like a throwaway game for Arizona, the fact that they're sending Montgomery out there to see if he can work things out in a pretty tough spot. So, yeah, I expect the runs to come, and I think Colorado's a live dog here.
Dan, if I could interject.
Yeah, please do, Ross.
I always have to laugh when Jesse says if you get up early enough. As he resides in Thailand and 12 hours ahead of the rest of us.
He's cheating.
Come on.
He's cheating. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, this is ridiculous.
If I get up early enough, come on, man.
Yeah, doesn't he? Jesse, I live in California. Nothing opens here before 11, and that's 11 Pacific. So yeah, you got to get up pretty early out here in the California sun. That's sure, but Jesse, yeah, you're cheating a little bit if you get a 12-hour jump on us. But hey. The separation is in the preparation, I suppose, and Jesse Schul always prepared there. Shout out to those joining us here, obviously on the mainstay YouTube. While you're hanging out, hit that like button. For those joining us on social, hit that follow button, and we'll be right there in your timeline day after day. Shout out to those over on TikTok. Keep those likes coming and get those follows up. The quest continues to get us to the 10,000 mark. That's right. Throwing down the gauntlet there. We had Gibby checking in, asking about the Phillies money line. That game's going to be coming up in best bets, but Ross Benjamin actually going to be talking the total. So we'll circle back to that and get maybe Jesse Schul's thoughts on the side in that one. Also a comment over there saying, you think maybe this is going to be a pitcher's day today? That is according to Squidward's Tentacles. Appreciate you chiming in on the show. Squidward's Tentacles. I didn't know that they were able to be sentient and comment, but you got to love the names over there. Johnington asking on TikTok, Dodgers, Phillies, Mets. So he's looking maybe for a 3-team parlay. So maybe we'll start at the top of the card when those ones go. And I'll throw this one your way, Jesse. Nats and Mets. It looks like we got McGill and Parker going in that one. It was a tight game last night as those two teams were facing off. Mets end up getting the 2-1 win with Manea on the bump. You think maybe another tight game in that one as far as the money line is concerned for Johnington? If he's going with the Mets side, could that be a little parlay buster? I know you're into these minus 165 prices today, Jesse. So is this another one that you like?
Yeah, I mean, it would be a pass for me because of the price. But I mean, if you put a gun to my head and say you got to pick a side, I'm going to roll with the Mets. I don't mind McGill. He's had his moments this year. I just like the way the Mets have been playing. I guess they did lose a couple to the Phillies, but overall, the second half of the season, they've been pretty damn good. And, Washington being out of it, the Mets jockeying for for a spot, I would roll with the Mets. I just, I don't know that it's worth the price.
Yeah, again, I guess if you're looking for a parlay piece, you kind of can skirt that and, get away from that a little bit if you're just putting these together. Dodgers actually playing earlier in the day because they're at Lone Depot Park in Miami, Florida. So the Dodgers and the Marlins was the other game that we had the question from our man Johnington. So a bit of a lean towards the Mets for piece number one, but for you, Ross, any thoughts here as far as the Dodgers and the Marlins are concerned? Looks like it's going to be Miller going against McCahan. I don't know much about the pitcher that's going to be on the mounds for the Marlins, so maybe you can help me out on that one, Ross. So what do you think about this? A Dodgers spot here?
You'll never catch me laying $1.85 with the Dodgers, and especially with Bobby Miller.
Especially on the road. Yeah.
Well,
and on the road, too.
I always start with the starting pitchers, right? And Bobby Miller, over his last 3 starts, a 10.05 ERA, allowed 6 home runs in 14 in the third innings pitched. On the road this year, when he starts, he's made 7 starts on the road. The Dodgers, as good as they are 1-6 on the road when Bobby Miller's their starting pitcher. And there's a good reason why. In those 7 starts, he has 11.38 ERA and a 2.17 WHIP, and has allowed 11 home runs in just 27 2/3 innings pitched. So, no, the Dodgers won't be a play for me. In terms of the Miami starter, McCaffin, he's only made 3 starts at the major league level starting on September 1st on. And it's not like he's been impressive as well. I mean, in his 3 starts, a 5.27 ERA. I guess he would be the lesser of 2 evils, but I would lean more toward going over this total of 9.5. I know it's a high number, but with these 2 starting pitchers and with the Dodgers' hitting prowess, and right now Bobby Miller could make the Miami Marlins look like the 27 Yankees the way he's pitching. So I would lean toward this game going over 9.5.
Here's the thing that concerns me about the Dodgers, and I'll get your thoughts as well here, Jesse. Before we swing it, we'll talk some best bets, and I also want to hear what these guys have up for $5 Tuesday. That's right, a Lincoln can get you best bets from your favorite handicappers at WagerTalk TV over at wagertalk.com. WT.buzz/deals can give you more info, but WT.buzz/RB will get you to Ross's page. WT.buzz/JS will get you to Jesse's, where you can get a $5 play. We'll hear what the guys have locked and loaded coming up here. But my concern for the Dodgers is this screams play the Dodgers. The price is telling you, oh my God, this is definitely the side. The fact that they're coming off a 9-0 win over the Braves is saying that they're hitting well. Marlins, they're coming off a day of rest, so maybe you get a little bit of rust coming into the game. And now, because the Phillies losing last night, Los Angeles is only sitting 1 game behind the Phils for the NL's best record. They're holding a nice lead over the Padres and trying to keep them at bay as we talk that they're rolling. So everything screams motivation, better team, great spot for them, coming off of a great win. And that worries me when you're playing against a team owning the worst record in the NL, sitting at 55-95. Everything says Dodgers. And a lot of times, guys, as we have learned with bad beats and the rigmaroles of being a sports bettor, and in the case of you guys, professional sports bettors, man, I'll tell you what, this one feels too easy to just throw Dodgers in the old parlay, which is when you kind of get those wonky games. So that would be my only message of concern, Johnington. But other than that, I mean, on paper, that looks like a great 3-teamer. Jesse, for you, you share the same concerns as me. I know the price is going to keep you off completely straight, but when you're talking about it as a parlay piece, it kind of changes the frame of how you break this game down a little bit. But just the slam dunk nature of it concerns me a little bit here.
Yeah, I mean, I would never want to be on the Dodgers at this price, and especially in this game. But I like what Ross said about the total, but I'll take it a step further. Look at the team total, and specifically look at the team total for the Marlins, because with the Dodgers being the big favorite, total sitting at 9.5. I haven't actually looked at the books, but I'm going to estimate that Dodgers team total will be 5.5. And you'll have an option with the Marlins team total, either 4.5 plus money or 3.5 lay some juice. I would probably go with the 3.5 lay some juice. This McCahan guy, he's had eight appearances. 7 of those games saw at least 10 runs scored, and they've actually won 3 straight when he's been on the mound. And Miller, like Ross said, his numbers are even worse. He's got an ERA over 8. So for the Marlins to score 4 runs today, I don't think is asking too much.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that's too big of an ask. Or great stats there also from Ross as far as Miller on the road. Got a shout out from our man Roger Long, who, like me, hates those rigmaroles. I think he was also just appreciating the use of the word rigmarole here on WagerTalk TV. Shout out to him, Titan CT, Colin Campbell, FB Coach. Salute to you as well. Keep those likes coming, guys. We appreciate that. And comment below. Let us know what your best bets are. These guys' best bets are coming up in just a few. We're going to talk Phillies and Brewers. We got a total play in that one, but we'll touch upon side for those of you throwing those in the parlay coming off of the loss. And we'll also talk the Mariners taking on the Yankees. Hayes Fallon was chiming in over on TikTok saying Yankees, Phillies, Bravos could be a nice little play for him. So it's all about the 3-teamers here today, guys. But let's talk about that Braves game before we get into best bets, since a lot of these pieces that they're talking about are in our best bets segment. Ross, for you, Braves, price isn't awful as they're on the road taking on Cincinnati. This is one of the more respectable prices that we've talked about as far as parlay pieces, but they're kind of reeling a little bit off of a just dominating loss with the split series that we were just talking about in that previous matchup. It's Holmes and Williamson. Braves got to be feeling it a little bit, right? I mean, it's not like they're going to be playing a tough or a bad ball club here in Cincinnati. Yes, underwhelming, but sure, they can hold their own with the top teams as far as it goes in a 3-game set, a 4-game set. But the Braves, they are sitting in that last wild card spot, and it is an absolute battle, jockeying for position down the stretch. So are you feeling the pressure a little bit? Braves, Reds. Any thoughts in this one, Ross?
Yeah, well, you're looking at a starting pitcher, Grant Holmes, for the Braves. He's only made 4 starts this year. And in those 4 starts, he's been uninspiring. A 4.57 ERA, a 1.34 WHIP. Not terrible, but certainly not good. Over his last 3, as a matter of fact, a 5.40 and 1.56 WHIP. So you could classify that as he's been in bad form over the last 3. Williamson, on the other hand, is not a household name by any stretch of the imagination. But, he's pitched okay. He doesn't give you a lot of innings. And all starts this year, 3.24 ERA, a 1.08 WHIP, which are good numbers. But again, a 4.2 innings pitched per start average. Over his last 3, again, that's the same numbers because he's only made 3 starts this year. So, 2 starts, I'm sorry, he's made this year. So to me, I would have a lean here actually toward the Cincinnati Reds as money as a underdog in the first 5. I do not trust the Reds bullpen. Yeah. I think Atlanta's bullpen's very good. So this could be a situation where the Reds have an early lead, or they get even as a run line pick in the first 5. Let me look at that line right now as we speak, so I can give you more accurate information. But first 5, you can get Cincinnati a plus 122. And on the run line, you can get Cincinnati. Actually, Cincinnati plus a half a run at minus 125. I like that a lot. That's wow. I just talked myself into it. The Reds plus a half a run in the first 5, minus 125. And
you just saw live.
The most okay,
go ahead, Ross. Sorry. No, go
sometimes
ahead.
the most intelligent person you could talk to is yourself when it comes to this. So
I was about to say, we just saw live the process of Ross finding a way of a potential, a pliant play just from chatting with the chat here. That's what happens live on the show. Yeah, you take that half a run, you end up with a tie after 5 innings. You're still the one cashing the ticket. Only minus 125 is the price on it. The Reds on the run line, first 5. Nice breakdown there from our man Ross Benjamin, a man who is just coming off a little bit of a 6-0 college football weekend. If the gridiron is what you love betting, Ross, one of the best to do it. And Ross, you've been seeing it great. I mean, we talk about the stresses of being sports bettors. The sweep weekends, it's terrific, but the problem is you don't rest on the laurels. That just means, hey, I'm seeing it well. Let's get back to work. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the $5 play that you have loaded coming off of a 6-0 weekend for just $5, folks can see what your college football is all about, right?
yeah, TCU and SMU going on Saturday. I got the winning side in that game. And again, as my man Dan just alluded to, 6-0 last Friday and Saturday in college football, including a 5% top play winner on Baylor, easily over Air Force, covering that double-digit number. So we're seeing things very clearly. As a matter of fact, college football since September 9th of last year, I don't have the exact win-loss in front of me, but it's 60% winnings since September 9th of last year. Finished number 2 overall in money earned in college football last year at WagerTalk, and we're off to another great start here. Again, TCU, SMU, folks, you can't miss it. And how about this, Dan? Since 2021, since I joined the Sports Memo / WagerTalk network, 132-81 with my picks in the month of September in all sports. And by our grading system, it's good for a net profit of $12,363. So I've owned the month of September. I'm coming off a great week in college football. It's no fluke if you consider going back to last year how well I did in college football. TCU, SMU, $5, $5. Even Jesse could afford that.
You have to go underneath your couch cushions and you can find $5 that you can check these guys out. Unreal stuff that you've been doing. So I'm sure a big Earth, Wind, and Fire fan, partying all September long, just cashing all September long. They'll need to make a remix for what Ross Benjamin does in the month of September. You want to partner with him, check him out, wt.buzz/RB. Jesse, for you, this $5 promotion that we started last week, I think is a great idea. We had the $2 Tuesday handicapper that ended up leaving everybody else on the sideline. I love everybody getting involved here with the $5 plays. What do you have locked and loaded? And also, let's talk some best bets here for the folks. What's over at your page, Jesse? And this Yankees game that everyone's asking about. What's the play for you as the Mariners are opposing the Yankees? It's Hill and Woo, a nice pitching matchup in this one as well. So Squidward Tentacles is right. It's a good pitcher day here. How are you looking to bet this one, and what can folks find over at your page, Jesse?
Okay, over at my page, I do have a Major League Baseball total available, and I'm on a 9-1 run with my baseball totals, all ratings, that is. And with my Major League Baseball top plays, I've cashed 14 of my last 15. That's a rating of 4% or 5% plays. So doing pretty well with baseball right now. I'd rather be up here telling you I was kicking butt with college football, but that hasn't been in the cards so far. But I will say I've only had 2 top plays so far this season, 1-1 with the top plays. It's early days. We'll count them up at the end of the season. I feel pretty good about where I'll be sitting at that time. And yeah, you mentioned Earth, Wind, and Fire, but it would probably be more appropriate to mention the Rolling Stones for this one, because the pitcher for Seattle, Ryan Woo.
Don't quit your day job.
Well, yeah, that says the guy who used to be a musician, or still might be for all I know. But anyways, Ryan Woo is 5-0 with a 1.66 ERA in 8 home starts. He's having himself hell of a season. And I know a lot of people are going to scratch their heads and say, yeah, but he's pitching today against Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and the New York Yankees, the Bronx Bombers. Surely that won't translate. Well, he did pitch in the Bronx earlier this season. He tossed 6 scoreless innings. He gave up 2 hits. He struck out 7 batters. Now they're facing him here at Safeco. Seattle's won 4 of their last 5 home games. The Bronx Bombers are 3-3 in their last 6 on the road. This has pitchers duel written all over it. Louis Gil has been equally as impressive as Wu. And I'm going to do something here that people frown upon. And if you don't like it, you might have to plug your nose. But I'm going to take the home dog on the run line. I got a little bit better of a price on WagerTalk odds board earlier today. Like I said, I like to get up early, get the better lines, unlike some of these guys here. But if it's too rich for your blood, I'd say split it up. Half your stake on the money line, half your stake on the run line. And I will give you a stat that you're probably not aware of, and that is over the Mariners' last 22 games, they're 20-2 as a run line underdog. They've only lost twice in their last 22 overall by more than 1 run. So I'll leave you with that.
Wow. All right. We're looking at the run line for the Mariners. Home dog with woo-woo on the mound for our man, Jesse Shule. Check him out. WT.buzz/JS is where you can find him, the $5 play locked and loaded over there. All right, Ross, for you, a game that has come up quite a few times here in the chat is the Phillies and the Brewers. Brewers got it done with a big win last night. 6-2 was the final, which helped the Dodgers out get closer to the Phillies with that leading record in the NL. Phillies and Brewers total is the play for you in this one. A lot of questions on the side, so maybe touch upon the side a little bit. But for the best bet, you're going to be maybe looking at these pitchers to shine a little bit. Ross, tell the folks about it.
All right, just before I get to that pick, and I'll real quickly, folks, me and Jesse, we have a combination package right now that has been going all week long, and it expires tonight at midnight. You can get all of me and Jesse's picks for a 7-day period of time for just $99. That's everything that we put out from Jesse Shule and Ross Benjamin. All right, getting to the game. Phillies, Zach Wheeler on the mound and Frankie Montas for the Brewers. I mean, talk about good pitching. Zach Wheeler, 8 straight quality starts, folks. And when I say quality starts, what that is 6 or more innings pitched and 3 earned runs or less allowed. And he's had 8 of those in a row, and he's been especially dominant over his last 3 starts with a 1.42 ERA and 0.74 WHIP, and averaging a little over 6 innings pitched, almost a 6-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. So not only has he put 8 consecutive quality starts in a row together, he's also been just absolutely dominant over his last 3. 1 start versus Milwaukee this year for Wheeler, and it was a good one. He only allowed 1 earned run on 5 hits and 7 innings pitched. And the Phillies bullpen has been solid over the last 7 games with a 3.20 ERA and a 1.1 WHIP as a staff. Philly offensively, and surprisingly, has left a lot to be desired over their last 7 games, averaging less than 4 runs a game and an on-base percentage, a poor on-base percentage during that time of .289. So that's something to keep in mind. Frankie Montas has never been one of my favorite pitchers, but you know what? Just because I don't like a guy as a starting pitcher, the numbers don't lie and liars don't figure, is what I always say. And right now, Montas, over the last 5 starts, his numbers don't lie. A 3.19 ERA and an impressive 0.77 WHIP during that course of time. And in those 5 games, in those last 5 starts, I should say, with Montas, Milwaukee has played 4-0-1 to the under. He's made 1 start against Philadelphia this year, and it was a good one as well. 5 2/3 innings pitched, 1 earned run on just 5 hits. The Milwaukee bullpen has been consistently good all season long, a 3.18 ERA and a 1.17 WHIP. And if you look at their home and away splits for their bullpen, and you look at their last 7 games, those numbers are consistent with their season-long numbers as well. Since 2022, these teams have played 15 times. They've played 10-4-1 to the under in those games, including 3-0-1 to the under this year. You guessed it, Dan. I'm going Phillies, Brewers under 7.5 tonight.
Going under the total, the best bet for Ross Benjamin. Shout out to the chat. We got one more question that we'll hit for our man Duck before we shut down here. But over on TikTok, Wizard41 giving some shout outs to you, Jesse, and you, Ross. He's loving the data that you're dropping here for free for the folks. You can check them out over at WagerTalk.com to see the premium picks. And yes, check out that combo deal that they have rocking. So the best bet for Jesse going under in the Phillies game, or excuse me, for Ross going under in the Phillies game. And Jesse Johnington was asking, so what's the play again? It is the Mariners on the run line. So yes, take the 1.5, according to the best bet for our man Jesse Schul. Last question here. Duck has an interesting one on the Orioles. It's Orioles going against the San Francisco Giants. I think he's worried about Snell by name, maybe not so by nature, because he says, I have an Orioles over wins ticket and a Giants under. So I need an Orioles win, but I'm not sure if betting against Snell is a smart move. What I would say is you already have 2 tickets tied to the result. So maybe if you just want some pizza money just for some action on the game, hey, maybe you take it all out of it and look maybe towards a total. But if you already have a play on both sides as far as the season wins go, I'm not sure if you have to double down and pick a winner in a game, especially if you have some concerns going against the lefty Snell. Anything for you, Jesse, stand out for the O's and the San Francisco Giants? 6:35 to start on this one.
Yeah, well, it's certainly interesting with Blake Snell because he couldn't do anything right in the first half of the season. He was a big-time fade. I made a lot of money betting overs in Snell's in his first dozen starts. And this is a trend that dates back two or three seasons now. Snell, slow starter, comes out, gets rocked early on in April and May. And then come mid-June, the guy's Cy Young form, and he's done it again. He's been lights out, and it's hard not to want to back Snell, say in a first 5 innings bet. But San Francisco is so bad on the road. The Orioles really need this game. I'd say if you really like Snell, you could take him for 5 innings, but it's a pass for me. I wouldn't bet the side in this game.
Anything for you, Ross, before we shut things down? You can help out our man Ducky as he's sweating 2 different results. Is he going to get closer? Does he get the Orioles win, the San Francisco Giants loss? Anything for you in that O's and Giants game before we shut it down and make way for Wager Talk today?
I'm going to keep it simple. We got the better starting pitcher in Snell over Suarez, and we also have the better bullpen. I mean, the Baltimore bullpen over the last 7 games, a 7.50 ERA and a 1.72 WHIP. So even if their starting pitcher comes up big, you got to worry about their bullpen. And you're also looking at a pitcher who doesn't give you major innings in Suarez. I mean, over the course of the season, he's only averaging 5.1 innings pitched per start. So I would have a lean toward the better pitcher against, it's not like San Francisco's bullpen has been lights out, but they're the lesser of 2 evils when comparing against Baltimore right now.
He's Ross Benjamin, WT.buzz/RB. The other man, Jesse Schul, WT.buzz/JS. Check him out over at WagerTalk.com. Big thanks to those of you joining us live. Big thanks to you watching us on the rewatch. Regardless, hop below in the comments. Let us know what your best bets are today. The guys are going with the Phillies and the Brewers. Ross looking towards the under. There are some rogue 7.5s out there. 7's still sitting, so that key number, want to grab it before it gets any lower there. And Jesse Schul looking towards the Mariners on the run line as they're taking on the Yankees in the nightcap. While you're below there in the comments, folks, make sure you hit that like button if you're watching us on X, Instagram, TikTok. That follow goes a long way. And don't go anywhere. 20 minutes from now, Ronald Cabang, Adam Traeger, Carl Bianco joining Lawrence Presman and Teddy Covers, getting ready to go in MLB. They're going to talk some NFL as well, a little bit of WNBA, if that's your thing, coming from our man Ronald Cabang, one of the best in the biz at breaking that down. And then following that, we got the opening line report coming a day late for you folks. So a little bit of a special. You got to hear their thoughts on Monday Night Football in an abbreviated edition. They'll be back. Teddy Covers alongside Joe Ranieri with the NFL opening line report. Where are the lines at? Where are they moving? Find that out at 1 o'clock Eastern right here on the WagerTalk TV YouTube channel and social media channels. Best of luck, folks. We'll be back locked and loaded through the rest of the regular season here on MLB First Pitch, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. on the West Coast. Till next time, cash those tickets. Best of luck, and we'll see you back here on WagerTalk TV.